Welcome to Retreat Magic, conversations all about the power and the purpose of retreats. I'm your host, Lisa Dunford Dickman, a transformational life coach and the leader of life-changing South African Sea Safari retreats. In these conversations, my guest and I will dive deep into the world of sacred transformational experiences, where wonder, alignment, and expansion meet. Let the magic begin. Welcome to Retreat Magic. I'm Lisa Dunford Dickman, and I have the absolute privilege to be here with Tara Galeano today. She is such an amazing person, such a magical being, and so wonderful to talk to. Tara is a certified sex therapist and sexual empowerment coach who's worked with women and with couples for over 2 decades. She really helps them get their sexy back, which I absolutely love. She knows that there's pleasure in the body beyond our wildest dreams, and everyone can access it. I know that to be true. Rediscovering my body and part of what Tara teaches, and she helps us show up for our desires, which are really our own internal GPS. And so it's so important to honor those desires. Through reconnecting with her own body, Tara was able to understand what was right and pleasurable for herself and how to best proceed from the wisdom and, importantly, how to share these valuable lessons with her clients so they can transform their lives and reclaim their sensuality. So important. Tara offers unique couples retreats and intimate ceremonial journeys, and she opens doors to new experiences and deepens communications with herself, yourself, and others. I also know she holds some amazing retreats, and she has one coming up in the fall. And she has more amazingness on her new website, which we will share at the end. Tara, would you like to share anything about who you serve and why?
Yeah. So currently, thank you, Lisa. I just want to thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to be here with you. And I really feel the joy and your generosity of welcoming me here. So I'm glad to spend the time with you.
Such a pleasure to have you here.
And then as I'm considering who it is that I'm serving, who it is that I'm working with, right now it seems to be everyone, all beings of all genders. And then there's a more specific focus for this current retreat that's coming up called Awakening Womb for those in female bodies and those who really identify as having a womb space. And so that's where we're going with this retreat, and allowing women to dive deeper into the reclamation of their own pleasure through the womb space. And we're going to do that through education and information and sharing stories and really being together as women.
Amazing. That's so good and so important. Reclaiming I really do, reclaiming your pleasure is not just important for you. It's important for everyone you are in relationship with, whether intimate or not. It's important for you being a better mother. It's important for you being a better worker. It's important for you. Yes, of course, it's for you being a more attuned partner.
Yes.
But it really serves all of your life.
Yeah. Yeah. Oftentimes what I see, and I always use this term of like, we get stuck in this performative paradigm where we're wanting to be a caregiver and give, and we forget to give to ourselves first, is what I see. And it really is when we can shift that focus of attention to ourselves and give to ourselves because we know our pleasure, we actually can create more pleasure within our own system that kind of fountains out, and others can be fed from it. And that is kind of the way that I imagine that we need to focus our attention, but the performative paradigm gets us stuck in wanting to please others. And that's not really that helpful.
Well, and so many of the clients I serve too, like they're kind, generous people, and they want to serve their family, the world, the planet, and we may be acting in service of the planet and in the best interest, but that includes our best interest as well. We are part of that. And loving ourselves. How often do we put, if you made a list of who you love, would you put yourself on it?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And how important
Agree.
is that?
Mm-hmm. I'd say it's primary, and often we forget ourselves.
We do. And that's a lot of my message too in Open the Magic retreats in Africa is it's about increasing your capacity to
Yes.
receive all that is, to receive pure light, pure love, pure
Mm-hmm.
joy, which are our birthrights.
Oh, yes.
And and the way we connect to that is through embodiment.
Is my sense. Yeah, I do believe that so many of us, I mean, the irony is here we are on a Zoom meeting and we're focused on the shoulders up, right? So really emphasizing our heads.
Yes,
And so many of us, we live in our heads. And
it's
that
true.
doesn't serve all of who we are. So to actually be in our bodies, particularly the lower parts of our bodies, our pelvis, our hips, our sex, our genitalia,
Mm,
all of that, to actually be in that and know that it is good and take that life force energy up and through our body is a powerful way to be in the world. And oftentimes, what I find is that a lot of us as women in female bodies are living kind of from the chest up. We're very heart
hmm.
centered, which is beautiful, and that there's more depth and opportunity to go deeper into all of who we are by actually connecting the sex with the heart, with the head.
Yes, yes. I feel like a bobblehead doll over here. I'm like, yes, like 100% yes.
Yeah.
Because now and in our body and being grounded in those lower chakras is so much more powerful. Like
Yes.
you're acting from a place of rootedness, from groundedness, of where you can then expand out
Yes.
and bloom in such beautiful ways. But I think you're right. So many people are not connected between, a heart, head, root. Like they
Mhm.
do just do the upper levels. And that's when they forget about themselves.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so that's why I love going on retreat, because I feel like then there's a deeper sense of remembrance because we're body to body, right? Womb
Hmm.
to womb. And we actually can feel more deeply within our own root because we're with our sisters. And that's a really powerful way of showing up. It's a powerful practice. It's a powerful opportunity to really drop in. And then I'll just say the next layer would be similar to what it is that you're doing, going to places where that is being held, like Africa, right? To where there is sacred land and the sacred vessel that we embody can be on that sacred land.
Yes, yes. And there's a power to giving yourself the gift of a retreat, to
Yes.
getting away, to saying, I am welcoming all my parts. I am willing to explore something new. I am willing to transform and be transformed
Mm.
by the event, by the other people, by the leader, by the place, because
Yes.
it's all contributing to the whole. And that
Yes.
really starts by being present in your body, being
Yeah.
present in the place where all power resides.
Yes.
So, how do you help people when you're on retreat get embodied?
Mm-hmm. That's a great question. I think all of the elements that you named help endorse that because it's just like these reflections of these coherent fields, like being in nature, that remind us of our own coherence. So it actually helps us to drop deeper into the body. And so a big focus of the retreats that I'm hosting with my colleague, and the reason why it's called Awakening Womb, is to come into the root of being a woman, into the lower chakras. And part of the way that we do that is through different practices, different exercises, different presencing, not necessarily changing what is, but recognizing what is first. Because I think
Mm,
the identification of how we're showing up, if we have a uterus, if we have a cervix, if we have a womb space, is really important. And how that is within our being in this moment is also important. So the acceptance of that, and then the understanding of how we might want things to be differently, how we want to actually live in that on a regular basis, and what that means, whether it means embracing more pleasure, right, for ourselves,
mm,
or
mm-hmm.
to be able to share that with another. And so we're going to be exploring that, and also through education. I think education is a
Mm-hmm.
really big piece. What I find is that women don't know a lot about their anatomy, or if they do, they had that in grade school or middle school, but they haven't had a current education
I'm
around
imagining
sexual.
terrible textbooks.
Yeah, I mean, terrible textbooks. And now there's been so much more information and education available about the clitoris. I mean, the clitoris has legs, and those extend well beyond what we had imagined before, or that the clitoris even had legs, and that it has 8,000 nerve endings. And all of this is a great wealth of information that we are built for pleasure, because the clitoris has no other reason to be, right, except for pleasure. So there's something
Mm.
hardwired within our system that we are able to be there and can activate that within ourselves. So I think that just knowing that is an invitation to experience more within the body.
Mm. And I really want to stop for a moment and just acknowledge that statement. We are built for pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
We
Mm-hmm.
are not built to be miserable, hardworking, overstressed, over anxious, over busy. Like we are bodies having this human experience, and there's so much joy available.
Yeah.
And so often we're living in our head, in our anxiety, and in the future and in the past. And when we bring that back into the present moment and into our body, um, just so much more is available. And why wouldn't we learn from joy?
Yes.
I mean, we often choose to learn through pain, and that's powerful and transformative. But why would we not, if we have the choice,
Yes.
learn to transform through joy and
Yes.
through pleasure and through embodiment, right?
Yes.
And
Mhm.
whether you have children with that womb space or not, we are creative beings.
Correct.
Like we're the creative mothers, whether we actually have children or not. Can you say more about that?
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. And that's what I think is so important, that we're constantly creating, whether it is a human life or it is the life that we're living for our own selves, and that we get to share that with others. When we have that sense of authority and sovereignty within our own being, then we know that we're actually co creating with the universe at every moment. And the
Mm,
opportunity to create through pleasure is profound, and it actually is exponentially healing and exponentially expansive. Like there's so much opportunity in that. And what I find, particularly for us as women, is that there's a lot of shame connected with sexual pleasure, with our genitals, with, I would even say, that part of the body. And part of it has to
mm-hmm.
do with our menstrual flow. And part of that actually has to do with how powerful we actually are as creators. And because just a little bit of this time in the patriarchy, which has oppressed all of us and impacted all of us in some way, that there's been more shame placed upon our root chakra as women, because
Mm-hmm.
of the power. And that the opportunity for us as women is to reclaim that, not just for the pleasure, but for our own sense of well being and power. Because we're not meant, as you said, Lisa, we're not meant to live in anxiety and misery. We really are meant to be in joy. And part of that is accessing the life force energy, which is sexual energy, which also is this creative force.
Mm. And I think I just think the word absolutely, I 100% agree with you that so much about our bodies have been shamed, so much about our power has been shamed. Um, but even the word pleasure, even if you aren't talking about the parts down there,
Yeah.
if even if you're just saying the word pleasure,
Mhm.
like can you really own that that is valuable? Like that pleasure is not shameful. Like
Yes.
it's not a badge of honor to be miserable and busy. Like that
Uh-huh.
this is a sensual world. Like there's so much that's what I love about taking people to Africa on my Open to the Magic retreats is you are out in nature all day long. You are feeling
Yes.
with all your senses. You are
Mhm.
seeing the wildebeest under the tree. You're feeling the breeze. You're bumping along in these safari vehicles so that you're feeling the earth underneath you and the landscape's changing and you're absorbing the energy of the red earth or the mountains or the sand forest. And it's really all about your senses. You're following the smell of the cheetah, which when
Yes.
cheetahs mark, they smell like popcorn. Buttered popcorn is their scent. Who would have thought that, right? Or you're hearing the cry, the alarm call of the baboons or the impala, and you're feeling it in your body, or you're feeling the rumble of the elephant, like as
Hmm.
they communicate through the ground with each other miles away. You can
Yeah.
feel that viscerally in your body. Like,
Hmm.
and we so often ignore our bodies,
Yes.
like,
Yes.
and even the word pleasure, like even to say that I'm taking time out for my own pleasure to
Yes.
go on an awakened womb retreat or to go to
Yeah.
Africa or
Yes.
that there can carry some shame with it. But the truth is, it's
Yeah.
so much more powerful to be creating from overflow.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And I'm so glad that you said that, Lisa. I used to teach a class called Rediscovering My Body, and that class
Mm.
was for women who had cancer. And so they were in some form of their journey with their cancer diagnosis.
Oh,
And what I found was that oftentimes they didn't want to expend the resource to attend the class because it just felt like one more drain of it was a psychological
yes.
impact or a financial impact or a time impact that they didn't want to make on their support system because they had taken up so much of those resources for their healing. And this felt like one more thing. And oftentimes women would sign up if they had a partner because like, okay, I'm going to do this for
Mm.
my partner. And then to come into the space and really dispel that, it's like, that's not the way this is going to work. This is for you, being here for you, and that's where it's going to begin best. And so really shifting that framework that the pleasure that we experience is primary,
Mm.
and that in this world in which we live where there's so much emphasis on time is money and that we need to be productive, to take the time to be in pleasure doesn't seem like it's a value or doesn't seem like we could actually do that.
What? And I think the biggest risk of all is in not doing that, actually.
I
Is
agree.
in not stepping into all of who we are, welcoming all our parts. To I so often we're fighting with our body. That's what came to mind when you talked about someone with cancer. You would want to like fight your disease or fight your body, or even if I'm not always comfortable with how much I weigh. Like how much do we disown our body instead of loving our body?
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm.
And or fight with it and to come in relationship with our body. And there's so much more space to do that if you're on a retreat. If you've set aside time from the world and
Yeah.
you're claiming I'm worth investing in. I am
Mm-hmm.
worth this transformation. I'm worth the time, I'm worth the money, I'm
Yes.
worth and the pleasure, and my pleasure is important.
Yes. Yes. And
So
I think
what do you say
prioritizing
to
pleasure is important.
yeah, so what do you say to people who think it isn't?
Well, I mean, I think that that's a way of being in the world, and certainly it is a way to receive accolades or to receive value.
Mm.
I mean, I think there is something to that, and certainly people can choose that, and then they're probably not in alignment with the retreat that I'm offering. But if they imagine there's something different or a different way of being in the world and that they actually deserve pleasure and that they are worth that and that they want to make the investment in their own self so they can know more of that pleasure and access it, then I'd say they're probably a better fit for the retreat because that's what we're holding the space for, is that the
Mm.
desire, you may not know how to access it, but there's a desire to begin to access it. And I'd say stepping away from your everyday world, your everyday life, being in a beautiful space, being with like-minded women is all going to set the tone, right? And the mindset so it can begin to shift so you can access more readily the life force energy that's already within you.
Yes. And that is so beautiful. And I'm glad you mentioned the other people. Because when you're in a container like a retreat, people are not brought together accidentally.
Correct. Yeah.
And so I see themes emerging. I see, people making lifelong friendships and
Yes.
really connecting and finding that support they need to
Yes.
not just have this peak experience on retreat, but
Mhm.
to integrate that and bring it back to their everyday life and
Yeah.
really live in a way that honors all of who they are, that connects with those root chakras, that is more powerful in the world, that's really owning that power and that pleasure. That's
Mm-hmm.
you really, it seems like it's counterintuitive because it seems like you're taking time out. It seems like you're using resources. But
Yes.
what's really happening is you're expanding your capacity. You're expanding your capacity to serve, to receive, to go out there in the world, to
Yes.
transform and transmute these energies, these playing it safe patterns that are holding you
Yeah.
back. So it's counterintuitive that you're actually generating resources, even if it seems like you're taking them away momentarily.
Yes. Yeah. And I absolutely agree. I love the way that you said that. And once that capacity is recognized, the wonderful thing about this retreat that I'm offering with my colleague is that you'll also have the skills, right? We're going to teach you exercises and tools so you can maintain that capacity. Because what I find sometimes is we have that peak experience in a retreat, and then we're like,
Yes,
how does this land? But if you have skills and practices to continue, then you can engage those and you can actually keep that capacity within your own being, which is beautiful.
yes, yes. And and so for those who are called, you mentioned a desire. You
Yeah.
feel this desire for more. You may not
Yes.
know what it is exactly, but you
Yes.
feel this yearning and you know
Yes.
more is possible.
Yes.
And heeding that call is even just taking that first step, like
Yes.
getting present in your body to see if that's the right step for you,
Yes.
to feel into if it feels aligned, if you feel
Yeah.
like, and I know so many people are going to be served by your Awakened Womb retreat. It's such an
Mhm.
amazing offering.
Yes.
And I love too that you offer those tools because without integration, without support, without tools,
Mhm.
we don't need just more peak experiences. We need to have an integrated experience, to be in our bodies more often, to honor that pleasure, and to
Mhm.
really own our power. I feel
Yes.
like when you're connected, all those parts
Mhm.
of you are connected in this line.
Yes.
You are so much more powerful when you are being that infinite divine creator and creating from that creative womb space. You are infinitely powerful.
Uh-huh. That's so true. Yeah.
So tell us more about the dates and your retreat.
I will. I love that because if you're ready to be infinitely
Yes.
more
So if you're
powerful,
feeling the call, you don't have to know logically. You have to trust that call. You have
yeah.
to trust that intuition to that knowing that you're ready for more.
Yeah, I love it. So, because we're really wanting to emphasize the infinite possibilities and connecting to the cosmos, right? Because we, as above, so below, right? Making that connection between heaven and earth, we are in
Yes.
alignment with the equinox. So we're coming
Mm,
into the fall, the autumnal equinox for the retreat. And it'll also coincide with the next eclipse season as we're filming this in the current eclipse
perfect.
season. So we're going into the other end 6 months from now. The dates I believe are the 18th, 19th, 20th, 21st and 22nd. So it's Wednesday to Sunday of September, and really embracing the change of the heavens as we're changing what's present on earth within our own beings.
So beautiful. And we're recording this in 2025. If you're watching it at another time, look below, because I'll get on Tara's list. All below, there's a free course that she offers as a wonderful giveaway, and all that information's below in the show notes. Share your website with us so that they know how to connect with you.
I will. So, first I want to say the retreat this year in
Oh, yes, please.
2025 is in Sedalia, Colorado, which is about
perfect.
an hour outside of Denver. It's a beautiful location, and it actually hosts the headwaters for the city of Denver. So it is a magical land that hosts the water as we tap into the waters within our own being, which we are so much water. I just saw this amazing water scientist speak, and it was so much about water that I want to bring forth in this retreat as well.
Yes. And it sounds like such amazing energy there.
It's such amazing energy. And with women on the land, it will be even more powerful. And my website, so you can learn more about the retreat and about me, is my first and last name, Tara Galeano.
Tara, it's been so absolutely wonderful talking to you today. I'm very excited for the people who are going to be stepping into your retreat and who are heeding that call. And is there any last thoughts you'd like to leave with people before we say goodbye?
What I really appreciate about speaking with you, Lisa, is again the generosity of spirit and this effortless connection that we have. And it just reminds me of the camaraderie, the sisterhood that can be created between women. And I love that. And I feel like when we know that within ourselves and we know that with another, it actually amplifies the joy that we experience. So I just want to remind people of that, because that is kind of the power of retreat, is that we have these conversations with other people, with other women in particular in my retreat, and that you and I are having that now. I love that. So thank you for the invitation to be here with you now.
Oh, it's been such a pleasure. And I think you are so right that when we embrace our own pleasure, when we embrace our own body, when we aren't fighting against our bodies, when we have more information, when we've learned and we have tools to express that in the world, and when we share this with each other and we have the support of other amazing women, it really does make us limitless.
Oh, yes. Thanks so much, Lisa.
So good to talk to you. Check out Tara's information below, and there's information about my Open to the Magic retreat. And if you like or subscribe to this channel, we would always appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for joining us on our retreat magic journey. If something stirred in your soul today, follow that thread. Our incredible guest offerings and my Open to the Magic in South Africa retreat are linked in the show notes. Remember, the real magic always begins within.